itself, it was good?
Exactly. Yeah, it
Thank
was really
you.
good. Rumble ban here from BLG. The Jax, Zaya, and Renata removed by Gen G, so now they've added Renata to the list
Jarvan,
of things.
first pick, right?
It has to be.
I think so. You would think so.
I think that they can't afford to give it to Jun for a third time in a row. I think that he's just too effective on the pick. All right.
Maokai instead.
They don't agree. Bear in mind that Orianna also up. At first I was like, oh, Chovy's giving away Orianna. Like, he doesn't need it. Now I'm starting to question if he actually plays the champ. Because, like, the fact that they haven't prioritized it at all at this Worlds is very surprising. Because unsurprised, like, you should just get Jarvan Orianna, right?
I wouldn't mind it. I really want to see what Gen G end up with here. Because I do agree. I think that it... especially after the games that Shun has had in this series thus far, plus how good that 1-2 of Orianna and Jarvan has been, I don't think you can just give that away. And I don't think that the Orianna specifically is the issue. I mean, they have to do something. You can't just keep trying. If they look at Felios here, okay, there we go.
Okay.
At least Gen G is doing something different. It's a Hail Mary. Obviously, Chovy's Yone is a thing of legend, but I still feel like we haven't really seen him put out the performances that he's been able to domestically. Well, and it's now or never. They are down 0-2. He's playing a champion that can hard 1v9, but will he actually be allowed to?
I think also the games just haven't been about mid lane,
not.
right? Like Chovy's been getting Yagao's flash a couple of times. We've seen
he teased me
Yagao
with a
getting
Fiora.
but it hasn't been about mid at all. It's been top and bot that have dictated the pace of these games. Where Nexon locked in alongside the Orianna and the Jarvan for BLG, Yone, Aatrox, and Maokai in the first phase for Gen G. So now we move on to AD carry bans. Zeri taken away by BLG. There's the Aphelios. Zaya already banned, so do we see a Jinx ban? Do we see an Ashe ban? Do we see us falling all the way down to things like the Caitlyn or even the Draven if you want to be a little bit spicy? Maybe actually even a Ziggs for Pays. You have a very AD heavy topside. I know it's not something he too commonly played, but the Ziggs could work well depending on what AD carry you're matching up into.
I think Kai'Sa is something that Gen G need to be a little worried about. BLG do have a bit of a shotgun composition where they just kind of want to go in. And with the Draven ban, definitely does suggest that they're looking perhaps for something a little bit weaker during the laning phase. The Kalista now taken away from Gen G as well. So what direction will Elk look to go for? Oh!
Caitlyn Lux.
All right, fair enough. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be the Lux, of course. It could be a variety of things. But yeah, the Caitlyn, the fact that it exists now puts pressure on your support pick because of the flexibility that Caitlyn has.
I wonder if Delight wants to pull out his Blitzcrank. I feel like it's all or nothing, but you're already in a very dire situation. And as good as I think Delight, a lot of his engaged champs are, the Rakan isn't available. Maybe you can go for the Kai'Sa Nautilus, but doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence compared to any of the... Literally, if you don't get the early all-in, like, your laning phase is going to be in absolute hell.
Really struggles in the lane if you start to be harassed down. Braum as well. Oh, they thought it was going to be the Lux, but Braum into Naught is an absolute delight for On, not for Delight. In fact, it will be despair for Delight against On, who will very much be on in this game, not turned off by picking the Braum into the Nautilus in this final draft. Game 3, and we have our drafts. Gentlemen, what do we think?
Chovy hard 1v9, or it's BLG 3-0, right? BLG gets the Renekton for Bin, which he's incredible on. I think is best champion outside of the Jax. Then you have, again, that combo of the Orianna and the Jarvan. Shun has had an incredible series thus far. I think the only upside is that, you know, I think the Braum is better into Nautilus, but the 2v2 is a little bit less oppressive than Lux, so that's something. But if that's what you're looking at, things are not good, and I think Gen G needs to actually win some early skirmishes if they want to have a shot in this one.
I don't love Yone into Renekton. Not in like that. Obviously, they're not actually playing against each other in the matchup. I mean, like, when it comes into the team fights later on, I think Renekton is just so obnoxious for Yone to play. I will say that, like, Gen G have changed it up. Their team fighting, I feel like that independently, like, their players now have a lot more agency to do things. They're not reliant on a good engage from Peanut. They also just have more engage options because Delight is on a melee support. So I'm optimistic that Gen G can just do more because they have more tools to do more. But the pressure's on. They're down 2 games now, and their year can end right here, right now.
What a year it would be to end it in such a fashion. You guys can collect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive Form W emote. But what a year it would be, you know? Champions of Spring go to MSI, touted as one of the favorites. End up losing to BLG 3-0 in what was a shock defeat at the time. Champions of Summer go to Worlds as one of the 2 favorites. End up losing to BLG in a shock defeat once again. I think, although some people did have BLG as possible winners of this tournament, I don't think, of this series, sorry, I don't think many people had them as probable winners of this series.
I think you'd be far-reached, far-stretched, one of those phrases, to find someone that would predict a BLG 3-0.
Yep.
Coming into this series, especially when you just kind of look at the games at Worlds, Gen.G was undefeated coming into this series. They looked like one of the favorites coming into the tournament, and then they just demonstrated that at every stage of the tournament, whereas BLG had some very up and down performances. Even in some of their wins, they looked very chaotic and messy, and against T1, they got absolutely smashed in both games. It shouldn't come as a surprise that BLG were doubted, but their performance in this series has been incredible. And huge credit to Bin, his flexibility in the top lane. He was targeted, he brought out the Rumble in last game, and, you know, to me it looked like that he was every other Rumble main we've ever seen. He had a very clean performance. And Jun now getting his hands on the Jarvan once more. Let's see what he can do with it. Full clear on the top side once again. Don't be surprised, though, to see him immediately path towards bot.
Yeah, has done it in game number 1 as well, right? Just clear your entire top side, then path straight towards the bottom half of the map. So Chovy taking a turret shot, there you go. Winning the mental war, emoting. And I'm pretty sure in the last game as well, because of the event at the beginning of the year, every player on the green side that won, they got their own emote, right? I'm pretty sure Yagao was flashing Chovy's own emote head in the last game, which, that's got a sting, right? You're
Which,
up
considering
2-0.
mid has had like very little impact in this series,
Not been about
ballsy
mid.
play, I respect it.
A lane that has had a lot of impact is bot lane. Elkanon getting the push early on here. We talked a little bit about how it's basically impossible for the Nautilus to play effectively into the Braum
Oh,
if you
is
ever
that
go
Shun
in.
looking bot lane for a dive at level 3?
What a surprise! He might even just be looking to catch out Peanut, who will spot him as he comes through with the flag and drag, knocks him back. The sapling doing a bit of work here as well. Jun forced away.
So he's creating an interesting dynamic here because Delight is now divided between what he should do, move to assist the jungle or stay in lane to assist Pays. And now Jun is just reapplying that pressure, knowing that Yagao has that health advantage in mid. On has now made his way across, and it's just Jun playing around the pressure that he has. Chovy's likely going to be forced to TP. No smite coming out from Peanut means that he's going to lose his red buff.
And Pays and Delight couldn't move as quickly. Like, Delight can, because he can lose a little bit of that XP as the wave crashes in, but Pays really wants to be there for the gold, for the experience, and there was a massive wave underneath his tower.
It's good usage as well of the weakness of the Yone, right? Like the first 6 levels are just not going to be fun. Chovy's trying to counter-trade as much as he can, but Yagao is doing a really good job of continuously harassing him with autos, keeping the wave shoved in, so even without the fact that you're looking at like Jarvan and Braum, whose early game is obviously extremely dominant, there isn't really an opportunity for Gen.G to find any counterplay back there, and BLG generating some early leads yet again.
Not too monumental as of yet. Can sometimes
small.
feel like the flow of a single game kind of follows the flow of the series, but so far Gen.G are in an okay position, a CS lead for Chovy in fact in the mid lane.
Yeah, props to Chovy, doing well. He's going to buy a bunch of daggers. Always makes me laugh seeing those pickups.
It's General Grievous, man. He's got his lightsabers, he's ready for a fight.
More
They're all blue, so he's been killing the good side.
He needs, how many is it, 6?
I don't know.
He's getting close.
I think General Grievous's collection just expands.
Yeah,
Depends
but
what
he has
you
6
count
arms.
as canon as well, really.
Sure, yeah. I don't want to get into that. I'm not too well read up on that.
Nor am I.
Why would you engage the conversation?
Because I was hoping the conversation would end after I made the joke. And then you decided to continue.
Yeah, of course
and
I will.
understand as an LCK caster, that's your prerogative. But
my
maybe we
natural
talk about the
instinct.
quarterfinal that's happening in front of our eyes.
No, we can stick on that topic. Continue, Mao, it's fine.
Yeah,
I mean,
love
like,
Star Trek.
very little action is happening in this early game. Jun wasn't able to find any early ganks, and Gen.G's happy. because they don't find themselves at a massive goal deficit, only 5 minutes in. So what are your thoughts on Star Trek?
No, because actually I have a serious point to make. I want to talk about Peanut because even though this series he's been abysmal, one of his biggest strengths, I mean, he has been.
I mean, that's fair.
His biggest
ruthless. I respect it.
His biggest strengths domestically has been dealing with early pressure really well, and it's been something that he's always been very vocal about. And it is the mental resiliency of Gen.G within individual games domestically that make it all the more jarring to see how this series have gone thus far, right? Because I think game number 1, you know, that it's a tough loss, but you made a couple of big mistakes. You should be able to kind of just adapt from that as Shun is moving towards the bot lane, but not going to risk anything. Start looking to start the Drake with double prio, should be able to.
And BLG have been playing really well around their bot lane prio in
Very
terms of
much so.
early objective stacking. It's a 22-minute soul, I believe, in game 2.
They have actually gotten every single dragon.
Oh, not a single dragon so far
in this
from Gen.G.
series thus far. Yeah, I don't know the dragon takes for MSI, but I wouldn't be surprised if it holds true there as well.
I mean, bot lane prio gives you that. Like if you want to play through bot lane to dragon, having the bot lane that always gets the push helps you out a huge amount. As we see the dragon secured for BLG, Shun getting that one. You can see Peanut on the top side of the map. Did develop a little bit of a lead, but Dorman's been able to bring that back. Well, I say that, it's still a 14 CS lead for the BLG top laner. And the struggles that we saw at MSI continue.
I mean, overall, this early game has been very tame compared to what we've been seeing so far in the series. Chovy, again, doing very well in terms of farm. Bot lane as well, Pays doing a very good job. Flash.
Delight here for the flat. No! Oh, the anti-synergy, it's all over the place! Oh, Gen.G were just not on the same page. They weren't even reading from the same hymnal. That was diabolical.
It was awful.
And these are the type of moments that, particularly in game 3, when you're down 0-2, can make the big difference. The line and Peanut, not even remotely on the same page there.
Yagao even hit them with the emote, the yawning Teemo, you know. And that's the most disrespectful, because Yagao didn't even do anything.
He got to flash because they missed it all.
Yeah, it was just Gen.G. You know, like, at first it was a bit of a meme, you know, that they get to quarters or semis, then they, you know, they choke, they falter. And then last year happened when they lost to DRX, and, you know, you can rationalize, well, you know, DRX is having the tournament of their life. But now, like, it's going to be very difficult for Gen.G to shake this perception around them, because it doesn't matter how they perform domestically when you're the LCK first seed. The expectations that fall on your shoulders are astronomical, and they are not meeting or living up to those expectations.
And the weight of those expectations when you are in front of your home crowd as well. When you are expected to beat the second seed from the LPL, when you are the favorites coming in, only accentuate those circumstances as the Nature's Grass comes out. Smite secured by Peanut as they look for the engage world ender. Chovy with a great base seal, locks up 2. Yagao trying to join the fray, bin low, but he's able to dash away. Dorman going forward. First blood to Gen.G, and signs of life for Gen.G, and signs of life here in Busan.
And Yagao doesn't have flash because of the earlier play. We'll see if Peanut can extend, but he dies!
Shockwave, Peanut goes timber, ace in the hole onto light. The Glacial Fish are going wide, but flash ignite into the Piltover Peacemaker is enough for BLG in the bottom lane.
The trap placement from Elk was crazy there. There was no effort to light to go. Bit more chip damage coming down onto Pays, but BLG are the ones to overstep. But it's still BLG the walk away with a kill advantage thanks to the bot lane 2v2. Gen.G, as you said, Medic, showing some signs of life, finding a good skirmish around the Herald. And they secured the objective, so definitely still ways for them to find leads in this early game.
And Yagao punishing the overextension from Peanut really beautifully there, right? Has his ultimate still available, and even without the flash, a lot was invested. And the reason why this works out for him is because both Doran and Chovy basically throw everything at the Renekton and Jarvan there. We've seen a lot of engages on Aatrox not really work out. This is another example. They're able to take down the Renekton. The fact that Shun survives, actually a really big win for BLG. But here, Peanut, like, you don't have the health.
I don't think he was expecting that damage. I mean, he had the passive, right? So he thought W into Q maybe. But look at that trap placement there from Elk. Like, where does the light go? He's like, I'm trapped, I'm stuck. Gets ulted on, and then the ignite wasn't even, I mean...
yeah, they used a lot more than they needed to get
but
that
hey,
kill.
they made it work. 2v2 kill found. Delight now.
Depth charge onto Elk. He still has flash, he still has heal, but where's he gonna dash to? As the Gen G bot lane comes to life as well. Gen G 2-2 now. They have the Rift Herald in the pocket of Peanut. Do they want to just put it down and invest more gold into their AD carry? It looks like it.
Look at the faces of the Gen G fans. Cautious optimism for now. They will equalize the kills, and Pay's getting a crucial one. Will help close the gold gap between him and Elk. He needs those plates, and he's going to get some gold off the back of that. So a much needed play there for Gen G. Delight finds his opportunity.
Chovy going in with the Soul Unbound, pull back with the shockwave, but he can dash away. The base still blocked though with the Cataclysm, and Chovy will fall every time Gen G get on the board. BLG answer.
And Chovy got a bunch of help, wasn't able to take down Yagao. Yagao gets one gank, says thank you very much, is able to pick up the counter kill. Credit again to Shun, right? Blocking.
Helps when your teammates hit their skills.
Yeah, that turns out then gank's a lot better. We do see, as mentioned, the fact that Paze at least is playing in this game helps a little bit, but see if Gen G can get another play going here, as the Drake has been started up. Drake stacking for BLG has been really big this series.
Yagao has no ultimate. Peanut has his. The Nature's Grasp possibility is there's the Glacier Fissure. Nature's Grasp used, but they all line up. Good hook onto the back line as the TP is now invested from either side. Chovy trying to come in from the top side of the fight, but Doran's already dead. And now Paze having to cleanse away. The ace in the hole finds his prey, but only 100 HP left now on the Gen G AD carry.
And Gen G is a team that usually is so on the same page, but there they weren't. Chovy wasn't able to join the rest of the team, and Doran's teleport gets immaculately punished by BLG. We're able to pick up the kills and surely pick up the dragon as well.
Yeah, I mean, that response from Bin, we saw him do this so much in the G2 series, the rate at which he's able to react with TPs to make these cross maps happen. The moment he sees that Doran TP come through, he joins the rest of his team, and Yagao having that priority in mid, getting that kill onto Chovy, delayed his involvement, and Gen G again going for a fight that they think they can win, but the numbers aren't in their favor. You can see the TP, Yagao is already here. Chovy's catching this mid wave, and Gen G's saying, well, if we TP in, Bim's forced to stay underneath this tower, but he just abandons the wave top lane. He doesn't care, he wants to be here for the fight.
It's also Delight going in when no one else on the team is ready, right? So he's going in, there's no actual follow-up on the damage. Everyone just stands behind Brom. BLG, again, denied the dragon. Still nothing when it comes to those for Gen G in this series.
BLG playing really well around cooldowns as well. No ultimate for Paze, no ultimate for Delight in that fight because they had been used to catch out Elk, and now Paze, no summoners as well for the next 4 minutes or so. BLG, 1,000 gold ahead. Chovy trying to do everything he can to get ahead on this Yone, but already Leandri's complete for Yagao. Doran trying to keep Bin at bay. He's doing an okay job of it, but the rest of the team crumbling a little bit around him. I mean, the whole team's just crumbled throughout this series. Doran has exemplified that.
No TPs.
Games 1-2, no TPs, as you say. Delight trying to step forward. They can hold. They have the killer instinct and the depth charge, but Delight.
Yagao's on his way as well.
Damage.
These Caitlyn picks at this tournament have been incredibly oppressive. We did see NRG try to answer it yesterday with the Ezreal Karma to, honestly, in the laning phase, great effect, but the level of harassment that this champion can provide is so difficult to deal with, and Gen G have felt the pressure. 2K is the gold lead now for BLG, and with 2 dragons up, Chronicler, you already talked about it. Gen G haven't even been able to taste a dragon this series, as BLG have just controlled that objective with this early game dominance that their bot lane 2v2 consistently finds.
And right now we see Gen G making a position. I feel like something that I want to highlight as well. To me, I feel like Gen G haven't truly won a single skirmish, right? It's always been a 1-for-1 or a 1-for-2, or they get the objective but they lose on the cross map. And it's something that they usually were very consistent in. Not going to be the case here as BLG will give up the Herald.
I think part of it is exemplified here. If BLG had been doing that Rift Herald, Genji would have run into them and tried to take the fight. BLG say, okay, cool. We don't think we can win the fight of the Rift Herald, so we'll let you have that. We'll go down towards the bottom side. Yagao is pushing in. We'll gain control of your bot side jungle, maybe even take a tier 2 off this, because you have to go the long way round to get down here. And if Chovy then overstepped into his own jungle, he'd be caught out. So they lose the red buff, they lose their bot side jungle, and yes, Genji got the Rift Herald, but BLG didn't give them any more than they needed to in that situation.
I mean, BLG just controlling the map very well right now, taking their time, using their pressure. Yagao has the TP bot lane. Doran in a position to go for a fight, but Bin respecting it, knowing that his side is the weak side. Peanut going to interrupt some bases here, just to be a little bit more annoying. But overall, BLG continue to look good here in this early game, and we talk about the pressure, it only continues to mount, but I am more optimistic that Genji have a few more options in this mid game.
Yeah, it feels a lot more like game number 1 as opposed to game number 2. Game number 2, obviously, not a lot to be done. I also want to highlight the one upside of that play towards bot side, where BLG got the dragon, is that it actually equalized the top half of the map, right? So Bin gets his team ahead, but it does mean that Dora now does have an item lead. We'll see if he's able to use that, though. We remember in game number 1 on the Jax, he got an early kill as well. That didn't really translate to a whole lot. And I think this dragon in a minute is going to give us a really good indication of whether this series is going to continue. Because Genji, they have the power, the backline dive. Will they actually be able to execute? We haven't really seen it thus far this series. And all the sums on BLG are available as well. So the CC chain needs to be immaculate. And then, you know, if they get back to that mid lane play, I'm a little worried.
We'll see. Maybe things have rectified themselves over the last few minutes. 30 seconds on the Cloud Drake. It is a Cloud Soul here for us. Fitting for Genji, a comfort zone perhaps. Maybe they can fight back on their home turf. BLG have vision control around that Drake. Genji now starting their recalls. I wonder if Genji will decide to fight it. Obviously Cloud Soul is powerful, but not as much as an Infernal or a Hextech or even an Ocean or a Mountain. Basically, it's more powerful than a Chemtech Soul, and not much more powerful than the others.
I think you're severely underestimating Cloud.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to highlight Pays interrupting Chun's back there. He wanted to get a cheeky base off before the dragon started, but not going to result in a huge amount. The Herald actually being dropped to help give that extra pressure in the mid lane for Genji. They actually have access to the river here. Notice Chovy pushing in that bot wave. So Yagao's still sitting top. Yeah, TP's actually going to come out from Bin to answer. Will be a bit separated from his team. But all right, here we go. Third dragon of the game. It's Genji that are first to the objective. And I think BLG are actually just going to give this one up.
Yep, they just decide top lane tower is more important. Bin makes sure they don't lose the turret off it as well. So it's a Drake for a tower trade across the map. Also vision control gained once again by BLG up towards the top river. Not too much of it. Wasn't quite able to see exactly how much they got because obviously we see the Orianna there. But there's the TP. Nature's Grasp coming out as the collapse onto Peanut was a possibility, but in the end doesn't bear fruition.
Small win there for Genji on specifically the teleport, but yeah, BLG still going to be happy with the trade. Giving up a single Drake, not the end of the world. TP coming in here, they want to hold onto this turret.
Chovy has TP as well. No wards behind for him to get to. And with the snap trap lineup, it's very hard for Genji to hold. TP seemed a little over-eager from Genji there. Felt like the tower was pretty much lost. Could have just kept pushing in the bot lane, but they tried to invest some resources into defending. Delight is looking for Yagao, but Shun steps in the way. The Depth coming out as well. The Killer Instinct, a possibility here for Pays. He dives in. They find Yagao. The Shockwave. It's not going to be enough. And Genji proactively find the enemy mid.
A really good punish as Delight and Chovy are sitting in the top side river, and they notice that Yagao and Shun are just kind of lackadaisically walking through the river. Great awareness, though, from Yagao. You'll notice that he takes a step back. He's actually hesitant that Soul might be in the brush. Unfortunately, the hook connects onto Shun, which is all Delight needs to then connect the ultimate. Pays with the quick follow-up means that Genji get themselves another kill.
Yeah, see there as well, even though the Kai'Sa has dropped someone in priority, with Xayah being a lot better in a mirror matchup, and then also new answers in the form of the Senna and Kanj have come through. These type of moments, particularly once you hit the second level of Killer Instinct, are so good. And everyone on Genji actually has set up for Pays. In these type of scenarios, we can target one or two individual members. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if BLG gonna remain tight-knit for most of the remainder of this game. as to not give Genji an opening to try and pick up individual targets.
That is where Delight shines, though, when he has a little bit more agency under his belt. We talked about it when we saw the Enchanters, the priority for Genji earlier. BLG, though, once again gaining control. The Shun, Elk on combination
right now?
has been so strong throughout this series.
Yagao doesn't have TP, so probably not. But I was looking at those trap placements and thinking, maybe they're trying to bait something here. But, okay, keep your eyes on Yagao. He's pushed out bot wave, now starting to move. Chovy does have the TP, so maybe BLG could just try and get the TP out of Chovy. Then when you set up for the next dragon, both TPs for Yagao and Bin will be available. All right, looks like that they're not going to risk it. They're just going to spend that vision reset on.
Does have the flash. The trap on Delight will slow him up, but Delight deciding no hook needed in that situation. Pays was there to close the gap, but I think his killer instinct still a few seconds before it's back off cooldown.
Yeah, also just in general, going to be hesitant, right, to engage on the Braum as Chovy. Going to use his health bar to make sure he gets his turret. Wouldn't be the first time that teams have tried a hard engage, and I think it was a lack of vision as well. So Genji not taking any risks, and it's a good call because they are very much with their backs against the wall here, even though this game is a little bit closer. Genji have been able to find a big lead, break open the game, and take control.
Genji have done a great job of slowing down the game, though,
Very
getting
true.
it into a position where there are 2 items on their carries. Chovy has 2, Pays has 2, Doran building up towards his second as well. They are matched, obviously, by BLG on the other side, but compared to Game 2, at least, much stronger performance from Genji. BLG do still have the power of Elk and Yagao in these team fights. Shun has been so wily in finding his engages as well.
Sorry, every time I watch Chovy, he's always got a new Yone build, and now it's Stride. I remember the Evan Shroud.
Yeah, it was an Evan. It was
Jack
also
Show for a while as well.
It was also the guy who played Sunfire.
Yeah, Sunfire.
Blade
Yeah,
first. No, the man loves his.
So now he's going Stride
builds.
Breaker. I mean, all right. It gives him a little bit more durability, helps him stick to a target.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's concerned about. Champion like Caitlyn with her range and with the E. Maybe wants to make sure that he can close that gap, and once he does, Elk can't escape. Regardless, we'll see what Chovy can do. He's doing a great job on a side lane, 230 CS to his name, and getting close to level 15 means that the longer this game goes, the more options Genji are going to have.
He's desperately trying to get to his young. Not going to be the case. Peanut not able to take that shot. And BLG have a first move and control of the river as we go towards the dragon.
Genji don't have to contest this.
They don't.
But every time we've said that so far this series, they have then contested
they've committed
it, so.
2 TPs to mid lane now.
There we are, Chovy and Doran join the fray. Stopwatch completed on Chovy. I think a fight is brewing. Bin locked up for the moment. He'll be able to dash away. Chovy pulled back by the Soul Unbound. Genji don't really have the vision control as of yet. They're going to try and garner it now, but there's wards behind them as well. The Dragon started, would be the second for Genji, down to 5,000. Bin with the Dominus, slowed, stopped by Doran, who acts as a bodyguard. Now the hook onto Bin, knocked up with a death charge as well as Bin tries to heal himself up. Chovy getting up the back line with the shockwave, pulls him out, shot out! Chovy down, but here is Pays to find another. The Dragon going over, flash away from Elk, twisted advance, they dive as well. On the front line, trying to get in the way as Shun forces Pays away. Shun will take down Pays, and Elk still standing like he's ever been for BLG. Elk still survives, but Doran finally comes to life. A triple for the Aatrox as Genji even out the fight.
It's 4 dead on either side. The Dragon goes in favor of Genji. Doran looking for one more. Shun, can you escape?
He saved everything in this series for this moment. Can't find Shun, but finally Genji find an even fight and find the objective.
And key thing here, do take note of the positioning of Pace. Bin takes a lot of upfront damage, but that's what he wants to do. Doesn't go down. Then Chovy here gets caught by Yagao's ultimate, and as a result, it feels like Genji is losing the fight.
And look at the flash here from Elk. Great response from Peanut and the follow-up. But Shun and On with the flash response to immediately lock down Pays and try and protect Elk. So you've got 2 fights going on. Doran killing the backline of BLG, while Peanut and Delight do what they can to kill Elk, but they just don't have the damage. He's just barely surviving, and it ends up being a battle between Doran and Elk to equalize the fight 4-for-4.
If Elk doesn't hit that flash, like that's a fight win for Genji. His reflexes, and sure, look at how much damage he was able to put out as a result.
Oh my word.
But also, that's a big moment for Doran. Doran is a momentum player, and he hadn't really had a great moment in the series thus far. That fight gonna make him a menace in any upcoming skirmish.
I mean, the biggest thing as well, as you talked about it, Chronicler, Chovy was basically irrelevant in that fight. They basically won it 4v5. Admittedly, Bin was taken out very quickly, and now that he's got the Star Axe, it's going to give him a lot more survivability. But let's quickly look at all these summoner spells. Everybody's flash is down. Ultimate to back up. Chovy does, of course, have the flash, but as BLG threaten the Baron, a lot of these summoners being down means that these fights are going to be that much more lethal. And here we go. BLG begin it.
Started up, Will got spotted, but I don't know if Gen G can walk up. The zoning of the traps and the ball.
Doran's so far away.
Doran is a mile away, but BLG disengage it. The Baron's still aggro down to 7,000. BLG get what they want out of the fight, or perhaps just don't want to fight any further. Baron resets, Elk getting mid lane prio. That's going to be matched by Pays, who works his way down there. Vision still in favor of BLG, denied by them. Gen G, darkness surrounds them. And a dark end to the season if they lose out here. They have started to fight back in this series, but they have to fight back for 3 whole games. Pays now getting the red buff, has the Nash's Tooth. Ginsu, Storm Raids are complete. As Chovy looks for a little bit more, he can always dash back with that Soul Unbound. Pays and Elk meeting up in the mid lane, the ace in the hole. Part of the power of Caitlyn. It's their ability to chip out the enemy AD carry at will with that ultimate.
Also do note, Pays going for the hybrid build. So his W's will hurt a little bit more, but it mainly means that you can bust down any tank in a second as long as you're able to get off your full plasma stacks. Doran also going for Randuin's here, specifically to try and keep the pressure on Elk. And I think now the game turns into, can either Doran or Chovy somehow find a flank, versus is BLG's zone control enough to just have a straight front to back?
I mean,
because with the Braum in particular, if you don't get past him somehow, it becomes really hard to play out.
Yeah, there's so many variables, like things that can swing the game. Chovy getting a good ultimate onto Elk. Yagao landing a clutch ultimate to potentially force a summoner or displace someone. Doran is this huge threat that BLG's backline now has to be concerned about, but Elk is someone that if you can't touch him, he's just going to win you the fight. He's nearly finished his 4th item.
I'd actually really like...
Well, I swear I saw him building the Last Whisper, and now it seems that he switched over to the stopwatch. I guess he wants a little bit more defensive. Maybe I missaw, but I swear that he had more damage a second ago, and he's decided, you know what, I actually want a little bit more utility, a little bit more defense. So he does have that stopwatch available. Flash about to come up, all those summoners about to come up, so it looks like we're going to have another crazy fight with Dragon spawning 30 seconds.
Makes sense as well. This game feels like the next teamfight is going to decide it all. Whoever picks up the Baron, whoever takes a deciding win in the fight, gets a lot. This time around, Pays doesn't have to tank that one. Teleports are coming in. Might have a game-deciding fight here, Medic.
It's just Doran making sure that they can get mid-prio. The Dragon about to spawn in 10 seconds as well. Would only be the 3rd for either of these teams. Take a second, take a breath. Might be the last one you have for a moment. Korean fans on the edge of their seats. They paid for the whole thing, but they only need the edge of it. Is Chovy starting up the Dragon here? He can pull it out. Now seen by BLG. They're looking to collapse in. Doran pushing out mid. They don't know where to light, and Pays are on stepping forward. Elk takes a chunk. The Dragon resets. BLG set up the snap trap line, and Gen G have to work their way down through the bottom side to make sure they can get in here in time. Delight has the flash, though. They just need vision cleared out by Shun. The Dragon down to 4,000 as Gen G look to push forward, push BLG off. Infernal change. There's a Nature's Grasp as well. The Dragon secured. It's Shun that gets it. Do we see a fight afterwards? Chovy dashing in, dashing back, and deciding he doesn't want any more of this action for now. BLG can make a beeline to the Baron, but Gen G didn't invest anything apart from the Maokai ultimate to play around that Dragon. BLG, though, are looking for the big purple worm.
There's a big cooldown. At the very least, I think BLG want to try and force Chovy's TP, force a response here. And in the best case scenario, they pick up the Baron.
The Baron has been begun. There's the TP from Chovy. Delight looking for vision in the pit, puts a control ward in. Doran going forward with a World Ender. And on the back of the wings of the World Ender, Gen G look to make their final stand. BLG's fate sealed by the combination of the Aatrox and the Yone. And Busan roars into life.
It is the flank that they've been looking for. It feels like the entire series. Finally, Gen G get the jump on BLG, who tried to bite off a little bit more than they can chew. And at the very least, Gen.G gonna walk away with a Baron here.
Well played fight from Gen.G. Elk didn't even get to use his flash. The collapse was fantastic. And Gen.G are not down and out just yet. The early game looked quite dire. But Doran's Aatrox at Dragon. And look at him again here on the front line, soaking up so much of the damage, but then Chovy finds the flank.
And it's this combo on Yagao that already takes him down to so low, so everything needs to be invested to try and keep this man alive, meaning Chovy is able to absorb so many cooldowns. Pace can move in with impunity. They're not even able to take down Doran.
And even Shun holding everyone in the Cataclysm.
It actually backfired.
It really did, because the Fate Sealed comes across. And what a moment it was for Gen.G. Perhaps the turning of the tides in the series, at least in this game now, a 5,000 gold lead for them. 4 items on Kai'Sa, 3 items on Chovy. Although his scoreline reads 0-2-5, he has been instrumental in these fights, as has Doran, as has Paze. And everyone from Gen.G that has been struggling has begun to step up.
Much needed wind in the sails of Gen.G. This has been a difficult series for them so far, but now you can see their confidence very clearly at the top. The siege will now begin. Tier 2 going to drop in the bot lane. They've kept Chovy in mid. About to crest level 18 for the Yone. And the traps trying to slow them down from Elk in the mid lane. But these cannon minions doing slow but steady work as BLG do their best to defend.
And now particularly with Pace having finished his death cap as well, his poke actually going to be relevant here. BLG needs to try and dodge those W's. Do see though that Gen.G obviously very short range. It's 4 melees and Kai'Sa, so actually reliably taking down these turrets does take a long time. They're really reliant.
Whoa.
So that was what, like a Q from Bin and then Elk getting a crit off?
That was the headshot.
Yeah.
It might have just been a normal headshot. That'd be a lot to sacrifice for a muffin.
I mean, that's a really big win, right? For BLG, they're able to stifle the Rebel Baron power play. Still big win for Gen.G when it comes to gold, but not breaking open the base means that BLG should be able to contest for some future objectives.
And the fact that BLG got the smite on the Drake means they are the ones that step closer to Soul as well. That will be our next objective in a minute, 20 seconds. The Red Bull Baron power play, 3K for Gen.G. Still powerful, of course, as you say, and getting you towards those full builds on your carries, so impactful. But everything that BLG had before the Baron fight still remains. They still have a Caitlyn with 4 items. They still have the range that they need. They still have Yagao's shockwaves, which have been on point. Gen.G still fighting an uphill battle in the series. This game, though, maybe slowly swinging towards them.
I feel like BLG still have this Doran problem that they have to get around. For the first time in this series, Doran is having a much greater impact than what we've been seeing from Bin. And he's just a juggernaut in the side lane. Look at that, 4 items fully completed. Yagao still chipping away at his HP bar, but I don't know if that type of damage is going to be enough.
It's also really hard to contest in anyone on anyone in the side lane because of Pace with level 3 ultimate, right?
True,
Like
yep.
as soon as the Kai'Sa joins, you're going to be gone in a second. So for BLG, they're just going to have to keep getting shoved in. But as you already pointed out, the benefit is that they don't actually have to care about the upcoming dragon. So we'll come down to the fight for this Baron.
But they could fight it, chronically.
Well, and I've often said, like, why would you? But then it's BLG, and then they do, and then they win. So I'm willing to be proven wrong there. But
I don't think they will. I think you're
I
right.
don't think
I
in
think
this
you're
one
fine.
we're
I
good.
think you're chilling.
Doesn't mean that we get another full-on 5v5. What I assume will be around Baron.
With the amount of control that Gen.G have, maybe BLG are just saying that they can't fight around Baron, and they'll just kind of have to do a base defense type of play. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see if they can actually gain some control back over the map. You can see they've littered a few wards towards the top side. They do have that top wave pushing, but Doran's already gone to catch that and is pushing that one out. Mid is pushing out in favor of Gen.G as well. What are we going to see completed?
You can see Delight doing what we talked about on doing in game 1 as well, that tempo cycling. Put vision around the dragon down towards the bottom side. Now, while BLG are clearing that, he steps forward into this top side. A couple of pings come out. It's okay, I'll ward this bush by the razor beaks. I'll ward just behind the red buff as well. And then BLG have to invest their time coming up here and clearing it out. And that means On now has 1 control ward. They have no other wards. They have no other Oracle's alterations. Only the one sitting on Bin, and Gen.G can take their time, step back forward with 3 wards and 4 control wards and regain all of this vision.
Gen.G doing a good job in terms of their control. Nice patient play, but in positions like this, when Gen.G have the lead, they are a terrifying team to play against. They're really good at suffocating you out. Level 18 now secured for Pays. And the Baron, 30 seconds. Quick reset gonna come through from Doran. He's going to get rid of that control ward and look to get a bit more defensive atomization. And BLG, they have no access. So this is what I was saying. It's a really difficult one where I don't know if they can actually fight the Baron because they literally don't have a way to get close to it.
Benefit for them is even if Gen.G do get the Baron, it's still a short-range composition. So BLG can just try and hold on, maybe look for an engage when the inhibitor towers are being pushed, because Gen.G will want to try and push 2 waves. But now we see Shun stepping a little bit too far forward, locked up with just the hook. No ultimates burnt from Gen.G. On takes a chunk as well. Shun down to half HP. Bin stepping forward. Doran level 18 already, able to keep the rest of BLG away. And Delight and Doran teaming up to make sure that BLG are on the back foot as Chovy goes forward. On going in. Shun looking for the Cataclysm as well. Pops his stopwatch as Doran goes down. The Baron secured. BLG can look for more. How much further can they chase? Not much is the answer. Gen.G sacrificed their top laner, but secure the Baron.
Gonna be a win for Gen.G, but BLG are gonna try and look for a window here. We're pretty late into the game. It's 45 seconds on Doran before he is back up. At the very least, BLG should be able to get themselves some turrets. Maybe even trying to push for an inhibitor here. Bin is gonna TP in.
I mean, look at top lane. Chovy's just chosen to split push. He's going to be able to secure that tower. What do BLG do now? I think that this is their best opportunity to actually fight. They have a numbers advantage. An inhibitor will be secured. An exchange of inhibitors when you're down like you are, I think it's kind of the best case scenario for BLG.
I think that's really smart from Chovy, actually. He could have come back and tried to defend, but you probably give up the inhibitor anyway because you're 1 player short. Delight looking for something. Gen.G just forced them away. The inhibitor for inhibitor trade is good for BLG in this moment, but for the next 2 minutes, they have to deal with those super minions and Gen.G pushing in with the Baron buff.
Yeah, we're getting to a point where the goal difference doesn't really matter anymore. Carries on both sides are pretty much full builds. Of course, Bin is going to be pretty far behind Doran, but as long as this Caitlyn and Orianna stay alive, their damage could be enough alone to be able to win out on the team fights. So Gen.G needs to be really careful here. While their position overall is good, the fact that they traded inhibitors, the fact that they lost Doran, it may very well come down to a final dragon fight as Gen.G move back out onto the map and start to reclaim that vision control, trying to leverage the 1 minute and a bit of Baron that they have left.
Want to pay attention to the defensive atomization. So we have 2 GAs for Gen.G, both on Chovy and Pays, allowing them to play very aggressive. Shun is looking for an angle here. QSS for Chovy as well. On the other side, Elk and Shun both sitting on a GA as well. Doesn't look like the flank worked out though.
Mikhail's available for On as well. Some CC does land on one of his carries. The push in from Chovy in a side lane. Obviously, Yone very strong in this position, but also he has the Baron and Doran does not. So Doran joins up with the team and allows you to apply Baron buff to 2 waves without losing any of the potency.
And BLG, they're not giving any core. They're not letting Gen.G just get these turrets for free. Looks like the only thing Gen.G is going to be getting outside of the inhibitor that Chovy got towards top is a free Cloud Soul. They are zooming. That's going to be 4 Drakes. But I don't know much. I don't know how much the speed is going to help with how much this game has slowed down.
I think it might help you with the flanks and with the Maokai. Maokai pops a Nature's Grasp, the World Ender comes out, gives you access to that backline a little bit quicker. We'll see how impactful it is as Peanut starts it up. A 7,000 gold lead for Gen.G. They are in the driver's seat of this game, but as you said, BLG haven't been given much quarterback. And It might just be a soul into a Baron, into an Elder. It's always a possibility when you're struggling to siege this much.
That seed of concern is slowly growing for Gen G. Everything looks good, but a single fight could determine the whole game.
There's a Nature's Grasp. That's hit onto the back.
It's a big ultimate committed, but
because you lock them up here, you then have the priority path into the mid lane. The question is, how far do you want to step up? The answer is not too far, as Chovy looks for a little bit more. He's able to dash away.
Like that, I guess they're trying to play the game of attrition. Those towers are very low, but they can't quite secure them. I think against this composition, you kind of, well, in my head I was thinking maybe you want to play through 3 lanes, try and divide BLG up more, and then when you have a single member up top, then you collapse from both bot and top into mid, use your numbers to then siege the tower. But when they have super minions top, that's kind of already doing the same job, and it's still not enough. The towers are getting very, very low, but I think you're right, Medic. I think we're looking at another Baron, which just gives BLG another opportunity. And that, again, that small seed, for all intent and purposes, Gen G, this should be their game. But that goal difference, you look at the items, it really doesn't matter, you know?
Hayes switching over to the Sork Boots here as well. Knows that his job is more poke than attack speed in these next fights. Will, of course, do a lot of work, that extra penetration helping him out. But, you've been in this position before, Chronicle. You've watched Gen G in long games a few times in the
Generally,
LCK.
they do well, but they also haven't been BLG all year. So, I don't know. Generally, Gen G, I think moments like in that mid lane, they would be a little bit quicker on the draw with what we've seen from them when they're in a position like this. I think you can sense the pressure that these players are under as the first seed of the LCK, right? They are down 0-2. Even if they win here, which BLG are making them work very hard for, that in of itself isn't enough, right? You're still going to be...
The extra mental pressure of forcing them to go through this. Yeah, it's a very valid point.
And huge credit to BLG. They made G2 sweat in game 2, even though G2 were able to pick up that win. Here they are making Gen G sweat, even though Gen G have had the lead for the last 15 minutes or so. Part of it, obviously, is compositions. We talked about the range disadvantage for Gen G, their struggle at getting towards those inhibitor towers, but you have to give credit to the LPL 2 seed. So consistently able to find.
Here we go.
Wins is on, steps forward, Infernal Chains will drag him back. Bin acting as a front line, Chovy looking for the flank position. Shun tries to dive onto him. The Mortal Steel gets the knock-up. Doran going forward as Bin with the Dominus is locked up. Stopwatch, is it enough to buy him enough time to get out? It is for now, but Pace dives forward and Bin dies, and Gen G have found the fight they were looking for. They turn their eyes back to the Baron.
Gen G finally find something. A pick onto Bin is absolutely massive. BLG are making the call. We'll abandon the Baron. It does not matter. We're going to try and defend for as long as we can. Gen G, they needed to break this game open somehow, and finding that pick on the Bin was exactly the play they were looking for.
And now then G gonna come in with a fresh back, trying to get the most out of this Red Bull Baron power play. Pace has straight up sold his boots. He is exclusively a W machine now. We'll see if that's gonna be enough.
Likes to feel the dirt between his toes.
Sure.
You know, do that on a beach, you know.
Oh, I enjoy it. Yeah.
Chovy at full build as well. We'll see if he decides to sell his shoes as the Mercurial Scimitar. Doran's still a little bit short, just has the Aegis of the Legion. On the other side, Elk sold his boots as well. Both the AD carries going bare feet.
Yeah, we're full late game.
And you're actually starting to see, Vedi, as you were mentioning, Gen G trying to play for all 3 lanes, identifying that it is really hard to push through this BLG if you're only playing 2 legs, to the wave clear of Elk and Yagao being something that even with Baron, they don't seem to be able to really chew through.
Well, I think with the Baron, what you can do, though, is Chovy can sit top and then use the Baron-empowered minions to actually start threatening the Nexus towers, right? Assuming he can take that inhibitor down, which then should draw than just a single member from BLG away. And there you go, they've unlocked the bottom tower. As long as they can play away from the Caitlyn, then Gen G can slowly chip away. You can see now BLG being divided. The Yone in the top lane.
Chovy the target for now, but the cannon minions doing enough work on those inhibitors. Inhibited in the bottom lane will fall. Pays, locked up, flashes away. The Cataclysm will get his GA, but is it enough here for BLG? Doran coming in from the flank as Pays is brought back to life. The flag and the drag from Shun is just found wanting, but the engage continues from BLG. Gen G disengaged perfectly to keep their AD carry alive.
And that's a really big moment. That is Flash and GA gone here for Pays. He sells it immediately. We'll see what he picks up. Looks like he's going back to boost. Chovy, not done though, wants to pick up this inhibitor. And Gen G, they get away with 2 inhibs and the life of
we're
their
going to
AD
see it. I was
carry.
just about to say, I looked back at the replay. Look at this. Oh my God, that's the headshot from Caitlyn. And that was insane damage from Elk.
And then the last part of On's ultimate actually clips him, gets the knock up, and it's enough as Chovy.
He's going to kill him.
Falling low. Has the shield, but it's just enough to keep him alive. BLG were pushing forward to try and fight for the Elder, but Gen G are looking for the Nexus. Shun already called out as they look for more. He's trying to get away, but there's one, there's two, there's more. The Gen G. Pays diving forward, the killer instinct living up to its name as Shun tries to get away and will escape to live another day, but the Nexus, the target in the eyes of Gen G as they are looking to fight back in this series. A reverse sweep is what it will take, and Gen G have taken the first step.
A crazy game. It boiled down to some late game team fights. Doran coming up clutch around the Dragon, the flank that they found around the Baron. BLG made them work for it, but Gen G stay alive in this series.
And Gen G, this is where the real battle starts. Unable to use the red side previously, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be back on it in the next game.
We'll see if BLG send them back over there. We're going to hand it over to our analyst to break down